this is just a personal question, but I think it'll be beneficial for a esteemed audience also. Because before we started recording, you were telling me that you've just written 2 drafts of novels within about 6 months.
Yes.
And how have you gone from a slower writer to a faster writer? Is it all scripture, or what other tips would you have for speeding up?
So, I could use a few tips myself. It's mostly getting your butt in a chair and doing it. And I actually have a standing treadmill desk that I use, a walking treadmill desk, which I also find very helpful to get like the blood flowing versus sitting personally. But that's not something most people can afford. Thankfully, I was able to use part of my advance to buy. I had to invest in that once I started working from home as well. It was hard. I'm going to be honest with you. It was a really rough year, and 6 months writing 2 drafts of 2 sequels. I had the sequel to Hollow Dolls I had to draft. It's called Lost Island, and that took me about 3 months, and it was much shorter than the Twin Daggers sequel, which is called Heartless Heirs. And sometimes drafting is really hard for me. It's like pulling taffy from my brain. I hate drafting. Revision is so much more fun. I love revision. But it was kind of a slog for the first book. And then I got through it and realized I need to write the sequel to Twin Daggers, and I have like 3.5 months to do it. And that was really hard. I got a deadline extension by like a month at some point, I think. I'd have to look at my notes, but I'm pretty sure I did get a deadline.
There's a global pandemic. Sure, it take a month.
It was before. That was before the pandemic. That was from like June to January-ish, and then I've been revising them for editing process. So the editing process is a little separate than the drafting. Editing is so much more fun. Also, can take a long time if it's complex, but the drafting process is the worst for me. Lucky for me, though, when I was writing the Heartless Heirs, the sequel to Twin Daggers, NaNoWriMo happened to be then. And I don't know, it's clearly completely a psychological thing, but NaNoWriMo, I can fast draft in NaNoWriMo. I can't do it any other time of the year like I can in NaNoWriMo, but I have written books in 50,000 words in 10 days, multiple times. It's terrible, 50,000 words, but it's on the page, and then I can revise it and make it better. And I was able to use that month. Wasn't quite that fast. But I was able to write the 50,000 words and a little more, which was great because the book is like 105,000 words now. And I had to get words on the page so I could revise them and make it better. And, I did the best that I could to get it in as best shape as I can. But thank goodness for editors because, even though I handed it in and it was in a book-like form, it was like, I know that I'm going to be able to make this better in the revision process. And pretty excited about how it came together in the revision process. My editor is awesome. Had some really great notes, and really great to work with. It's a good team there at Blink YA, and hopefully people will like the first book and the sequel. We'll see. So, but it took a long time. So yeah, I've been under deadline for about a year. I think I had a couple weeks in April.
Now, or are you about to enter another deadline?
Well, I mean, I'm going to have other deadlines. There's more editing to do. I'm sure there's going to be another revision pass of developmental edits on the Heartless Heirs book at some point. And then there'll be, copy edits and first pass pages. There's different levels of editing that'll go on that get to the more minutia. They're not quite as stressful usually as the developmental edits, which are like the big picture and like often require a lot of additional work and additional chapters and a lot of rethinking things. It's more, the fine tuning is more freeing, though also humbling because copy edits, there's always something I have to swear off commas every time I get copy edits. Like, I clearly don't know how to use them. I thought I knew how to use commas. And every time it's like, nope, I actually don't. Wrong again. And we're like 9 books in and commas. They always get me.
Way to alienate half the audience. Oxford comma, yes or no?
Oxford comma, all the way.
Me too.
I'm sorry. The other one just causes so much confusion. It's silly. I hate it. Like at my day job, there's some educational writing. I work for a literacy nonprofit. I'm the marketing director, so I put out our copy. So whenever I see something that's not an Oxford comma, I add the Oxford commas. There's much more Oxford commas in their website and marketing copy than there ever was before.
What kind of time are you able to put in for writing to get the two? What does your day look like with a 3-year-old, a day job, and you're at home dealing with? I assume occasionally you read the news in despair for at least a little bit each day, and then get on with it.
Staring into the pit of despair. That's always on the schedule. It's kind of a loosey-goosey schedule because like I said, I do have a day job. And I have to actually do that during the week. And I have this toddler who's home and not at daycare right now. Hopefully in a couple weeks he's going back to daycare. Fingers crossed we don't see a spike in cases here. We're in Massachusetts, so like they're doing decently. So that's the plan, and that will help. But right now it's kind of like every free moment I get, I work in some emails for work, and I play with my toddler. And then I sit in front of the TV, and I do some more work. And he's watched so much TV over the last few months. It's like, oh, I feel like the worst mom ever, but it's been a necessary evil. My husband works from home too, and like, that's what we got to do. You know, we can't not pay our bills. You know, so toddler has to eat, and he eats a lot. All those Cheerios. And then when he finally naps, then I scramble to get some writing in, and that's usually I try to write that, or unless I have like a work meeting or something, because they know that I'll be hopefully uninterrupted. The thing that kind of stinks is when we first started this whole quarantine thing back in like March, he was napping for like 2 to 3 hours usually every day. Now I'm lucky if I get an hour, I am lucky.
Sorry.
So it's all the time. Drives me crazy. Like, buddy, you're up way too early. He's like, I don't want to go to bed. I want you to. Like, I love you so much, but I want you to sleep. So yeah, but it's kind of a haphazard. I do an awful lot of my work at night because I have to. That's like, I'm, full-time momming and writing and trying to write and trying to work. And I'm really fortunate that my work schedule was already from home. So they're very flexible, which is good, but I do have deadlines for that have to be met, obviously, too. So it's been a juggling act, and lots of balls have been dropped because it's kind of the nature of the beast. Thankfully, I'm not the only one dropping the balls, so people are pretty understanding about that. So, but yeah, it's before COVID, things were a little better. I could he would go to daycare. I would work for a few hours, then I'd write a little bit, then I'd work some more, then I'd write at night. And after he went to bed, it was a little bit more of a real schedule. But thankfully, the drafting phase, those 2 drafts, he was in daycare. So just revisions, all hell is broken loose. So
you get bonus points, just so esteemed reader doesn't think I'm rudely bringing this up apropos of nothing. You wrote a blog post on it, so I assume this is fair game. You turned 40
yes.
during the pandemic, so that's just extra existential dilemma for you.
It's so funny you bring that up because age is such a funny thing. Like, I don't feel like I'm 40, and whatever. I don't care about age. Whatever, it's fine. But I was on tour with a Star Shepherd with my co-author last September, and I will never forget one of the questions these kids asked at the school visit. My co-author is a year older than me, and the kids asked us how old we were, and he said his age first, and he's like, MarcyKate doesn't have to say her age, she doesn't want to. I'm like, whatever, like, I'm 39, so I was 39 at the time, and nobody reacted to his age, but when I said 39, the kids were like, oh! Like, these gasps of horror. I'm like, what? Like, I'm younger than him. Like, co-author, why is that horrifying? It was a very strange reaction. But it was very noticeable. Like, the entire, class of, 200 students was just like, oh! Like, okay. That was, I don't know if that's, you're surprised I'm 39, that's old, or I'm younger than you thought. I have no idea. I don't know. It was very odd. But anyway, I turned 40, so it was kind of random chill birthday. I'm an introvert, so I've kind of been training for this my entire life. So it was, I made myself my own cake is what I usually do. It's all good. It's fine. I have my husband and my son, so.
That's all you need, really.
Exactly. My favorite people.
No, we're about in the same boat. I managed to get my 40 in just before the pandemic. So
Lucky you.
my existential crises I've been able to take them one at a time. So that's been nice. But yeah, nope. It's just my wife and my kid, and we're getting it done here at home as well. And
Yep.
so far so good. Knock on wood.